Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Choda with Ignition Time and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being a viewer and a subscriber, folks. I have two important updates for our viewers and subscribers today. The first is the Senate Democrats are going to do something highly unconventional. According to brand new reporting from Punchbowl News, Senate Democrats are considering bypassing committees on COVID relief and bringing this massive $1.9 trillion bill directly to the floor of the House for an up and down vote. There are some implications to this, and I will be covering those implications in a different video. For now, let me just emphasize the importance of state and local funding. Now, our viewers and subscribers know that this has always been a big point of contention between the Democrats and the Republicans. Now, as you probably know, the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, along with House Speaker Pelosi, they want funding for state and local governments. The latest version, the American Rescue Plan, the latest $1.9 trillion rescue package includes $360 billion for state and local aid. And how much did Republicans, specifically the Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, want to provide for state and local aid? A whopping $0. Yep, they wanted to provide $0 for state and local aid. So as far as I know, $360 billion right there is more than $0 right here. This $360 billion is what the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, there he is, what's up Chuck, and the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi want, and President Biden, there he is, hello President Biden, also they all want the $360 billion for state and local aid. Now what is really interesting is that the Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, there he is, what's up Mitch, did not want any money for state and local aid, and in fact former President Trump and many Republican senators call this a bailout for poorly run Democratic states, including New York and California. So clearly the $0 proposal right here for state and local aid is from the Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. According to brand new reporting from CNBC, however, there's much more to the story than this. Now here's the interesting fact, everyone. For 26 states, tax revenues declined, and for 6 states the tax revenue decline was substantial. They were completely battered by the pandemic. You would imagine that California would be one of those states, but guess what? That is incorrect. California's tax revenues actually increased despite the pandemic. New York, however, had their revenues decrease, which is why Governor Andrew Cuomo is trying to raise taxes to try and bridge the budget deficit. But this is very interesting, folks. Let's think about this again. 26 states saw a decline in revenues in 2020 as a direct result of the pandemic. 6 out of these 26 states were badly hammered financially as a result of this pandemic. But now things get really interesting. 21 states saw their revenues actually increase. Think about this for a second. 26 states saw their revenues decline, and 6 out of these 26 states simply were hammered financially. But 21 states saw their revenue increase. Their revenue went up during the pandemic. And believe it or not, California was one of them. Can you believe it? California, which has been the state that has had the most unemployment problems, they've had billions of dollars in unemployment benefit fraud. They've had inmates getting unemployment checks, and they've had all sorts of issues. They had to shut down their unemployment system. It's been a mess in California, but California's tax revenues actually increased. Now, if you're thinking, how is it possible that tax revenues can increase? There are 3 reasons tax revenues can actually increase for a state, and have increased for 21 states in our country. The first factor is the rise in the stock market. Yep, as the stock market goes up, states essentially have more money because a lot of the states' holdings are in the stock market. A lot of the state funds are in the stock market. And also, as the stock market goes up and people buy and sell stocks, that leads to more revenue for states. So states have actually made more money as the stock market has gone up. The second reason, and this is really interesting, we're starting to do more and more online shopping. We're buying stuff on Amazon, on Walmart, on all sorts of online platforms, and online sales tax. So when you buy something online, your state actually charges sales tax to the vendor, and a lot of this is usually passed on by the vendor to the consumer. So online sales tax results in more revenues for states. So the fact that we're actually not shopping at local businesses, small businesses, is hurting local businesses. But when you shop online, that helps states because they can now charge more sales tax. And the third reason is funding for state and local governments. Yes, stimulus relief. States have already gotten a substantial amount of stimulus relief, and that's why some states are just fine. This is really interesting. Let's take a look at this interesting report from this morning from CNBC, where CNBC highlights which states are doing better, which states are doing worse, and for certain states like Nevada, we actually don't have any information, but it is safe to assume that Nevada is not doing very well because you're not going to Vegas anytime soon. I'm not going to Vegas anytime soon, and we're not going to be hanging out and vacationing in Vegas. So the tourism industry has been badly hit in places like Vegas that are highly dependent on tourism. Individuals in travel, leisure, entertainment, and hospitality have been impacted the worst as a result of this pandemic. Let's take a look at this interesting segment from CNBC highlighting the inequity as far as state aid is concerned, and the fact that basically it's a mixed bag and different states are doing differently. So your state could be doing better. Let's roll the tape and get the latest information and the latest data from CNBC's reporting this morning. Let's watch.
That brings us to our next story. State budgets are in bad shape, but not as bad as many had feared. And that could actually undermine the push for direct relief for state and local governments. Ilan Mui joins us with more on this. And Ilan, what are you hearing? What are you seeing when the numbers are actually out?
Yeah, Becky, to be clear, the data does show that states are struggling. Tax revenues declined last year for the first time since the Great Recession, down 1.6%, and they're projected to fall again this fiscal year, down another 4.4%. So that is not good, but it's certainly not the worst case scenario that many states have been bracing for. And when you look at states individually, it's much more of a mixed bag. 26 states did report declines in tax revenue between March and December of last year compared to the previous year. That's according to an analysis by the Urban Institute. But only 6 states said that revenues fell more than 3%. And in fact, 21 states said they saw tax revenues go up. And some of the factors that have been backstopping state revenues include the run-up in the stock market, the ability to collect online sales tax, as well as the relief they've already received from Washington. Now, President Biden is proposing another $350 billion in direct aid to cities and states. Today, he'll be meeting with a bipartisan group of governors and mayors to try to build support for that plan. But guys, the question that the data raises is whether the price tag really matches the problem. Back to you.
Ilan, am I right to assume that the 6 states that saw a bigger decline than 3% of revenue would be the states that were hardest hit back in the spring, states like New York, New Jersey, California?
So California is actually a state where you saw tax revenue go up, and a lot of that is because of the run-up in the stock market, the IPOs that we saw, and some of the benefits they saw from being able to tax wealthier earners. Importantly, there are states like Nevada, I believe, which did not report any data, and so that's one state where you would imagine there being an extreme impact because of the impact of tourism to the casino industry, and so that's a state where you might see a big decline. So there was really a variance, not just in the cities, not just in the states, but also in the cities as well. And that is why a lot of these jurisdictions are asking for direct aid so that they're better able to target that relief to the places in their local jurisdictions that need it.
That's it, everyone. Super interesting information about what's happening at the state level. I'll be doing a video later today, a rather interesting interview with Chris Sununu, the Republican governor of New Hampshire, who almost came to blows with someone at CNBC about the way New Hampshire is handling their state compared to their neighboring state like New York. I can tell you that Chris Sununu, the Republican governor of New Hampshire, there he is. What's up, Chris? And I get people laughing. I get people laughing when I point to these figures and I go, what's up? I actually had a comment below saying, why are you saying hello to these figures, to these pop-ups? Well, it's just something I do to be funny and to be different on our channel, and I enjoy it. But it's very clear that Chris Sununu is not good friends with Governor Andrew Cuomo from New York. There he is. What's up, Governor? So it's very clear that those guys are not good friends with each other, and I'll be covering some comments from Chris Sununu and how Chris Sununu is handling his state as far as he's concerned differently from how Andrew Cuomo is handling his state, because there are differences between states. So that'll be in another video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think. I appreciate you watching. Please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. That would mean a lot to me. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.